welcome to the Pun Show. I'm your host, Macklin MacLoogie. If you watch this show regularly, you might think that I just ask my friends to be in the episodes. But I don't even know Matt LeBlanc. Tomorrow is Monday, so today must be Pun Day, May 17th. Quarantine construction tip. If you're spreading mortar or plaster and it's too wet, dry it off with a trowel. It's expunation time, where I explain or expound upon an ex-pun. Last episode, I borrowed the last name of actor Christine Baranski and used bar and ski as standalone homophones pertaining to a fictional resort town pub. Time now for the pun of the day. I have a hunch that the song Jailhouse Rock was set in Sing Sing. We'll dig into the science behind that one tomorrow. In the meantime, please welcome my guest, Mark Mulkerron.
Hey, happy to be here. How's it going, Mac?
It's going great. Mark, you are a stand-up, you are a writer, you are an all-around entertainer, and I brought you on my show to pontificate about a topic of your choice.
Today's topic I want to talk about is 80s sitcoms and what was going on.
What was going on in 80s sitcoms?
Something that really struck me as insane. I don't know if you remember the TV show Small Wonder with the robot girl.
By title only. I never watched it.
I just want to know what went on like in these pitch meetings when like people went into NBC saying, all right, it's a guy who works in a robot factory and it's a multi-camera sitcom and he brings home a 10-year-old girl to be a friend to his weird son, Jamie. Another one I was thinking of was Punky Brewster. I was reading the synopsis of that, and it's again like a 10-year-old girl whose mom goes into a Chicago shopping mall and leaves her in the car and never comes back.
Is that what that show's about?
Yes.
That's the launching point for the pilot?
That's the launching point. And then Punky goes to live in an abandoned building, in like a house, like a vacant unit in an abandoned building, like in like very cold, wintry Chicago. And then she finds like a 75-year-old man, George Warnemont. And then the entire pilot is like a fight between social services and George Warnemont, who wants to take custody of Punky Brewster. And just like, how do you get in the weeds in a pitch meeting of like trying to sell that to an executive?
I feel like the 80s were all about putting kids, obviously, at the forefront of these sitcoms, and when possible, mismatching them with like a much older generation who is not part of their world and having that clash be interesting or funny.
I'm sure they got tired of the old tropes of like what was like the Leave It to Beaver and like, you know, the nuclear family and stuff. But this time it's like, you know, very sad stories of like Reagan America, just like, you know, families just abandoning their children in shopping malls.
That is dark.
It is dark. Like, I don't know, like maybe someone wrote that on spec and they're an insane person, and then they passed it into NBC and they're like, yeah, let's do it, you know.
Did you have 80 sitcoms that you loved?
Yeah, I loved them all. Like Night Court, I would watch that nonstop. Huge Marky Post fan. I actually named my Twitter handle after Marky Post.
We'll get to the plugs
Post.
Later, Mark. Save that for the
Okay. Perfect Stranger was always a favorite. What was the one with Jason Bateman? It was the Valerie Harper show, they call it at one point.
Wow, I remember.
And because it was originally the Valerie Harper show. I remember you'd watch the show and you'd hear the tabloids in which you found out that Valerie Harper wanted too much money, and so the most insane way they killed anyone off a TV show I've seen, and this was another dark multi-camera sitcom moment in which the way they got rid of her, they brought in Sandy Duncan, who was like, you know, a strong comedic actress, and the way they explained the mom leaving is during dinner one night they said, too bad mom died last year in a car accident. Or something along those lines. And they're like, yeah, pass the potatoes.
I think we should have a end of interview like recap right now where we talk about the morals that we learned throughout this episode.
I think I learned that my childhood was just watching television, and that's okay. Um, and I've never grown really as a person, and that's also okay. And yeah, I think that's it. How about you? What have you learned?
I learned that we remember things better than they were. I remembered Punky Brewster as just a fun girl who got into adventures, but I didn't know how troubled she was. Mark, thank you for your pontifications today on 80s sitcoms.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been amazing. I'm glad we finally put it together.
Me too. Do you want to plug anything?
My Twitter account, Murky Post, at MERKYPOST on Twitter. I'm Mark Mulkerron on Instagram, and yeah, keep an eye out for me.
Well, that about does it for our episode today. We're back tomorrow with an all new episode. Let's take a sneak peek. And I'm back for this. Wow, can't wait. I'm Macklin McLoogie signing off.